Hey guys, today we are going to work on revising dialogue and how to use those pesky punctuation marks, right? So, when we're revising our dialogue, we want to make sure that we punctuate it correctly so that your readers can see who is talking, where the line of dialogue begins and ends. And so the rules for using quotation marks, commas, and punctuation ending marks are listed below. Hopefully some of you still have the sheet in your folder, but if you don't, then here is a pretty similar copy, not the exact same as the one you have, but it does show you different examples on how to punctuate dialogue. And there's also lots of great websites with this on there too, but you want to make sure, and I'm going to be looking at this with you, but you have to get it started. If you just put dialogue in there with no punctuation, I'm not doing it for you. I will give you some pointers, some help, but the test is, can you punctuate dialogue, right? It is tricky, but remember, for your narrative writing, you're required, if you go back to that rubric, I think it's on slide 10, to make a 3 or a 4, you have to have dialogue in there and it has to be punctuated. So this is something we have to get a handle on to make sure that we include in our story, okay? So 42, 43, and 44 have different examples on ways to punctuate dialogue. Make sure that you move to a new paragraph anytime a new person is saying something. And that's what's right here on slide 44. So in my story, all right, I'm 45 years old. My story happened 39 years ago. I don't remember verbatim, which means word for word. I don't remember word for word exactly what was said, right? But I remember the general gist, the general idea of what was said. And so I put that down in my story. And that's fine for you to do too. Don't make up something outlandish that someone said that would be rude or hurtful or make them look like a bad person if that's not what happened, right? But you have to have dialogue here, but you can make it up to a certain extent as long as it's the general idea of what the message the person was trying to convey. If you don't remember it word for word, that's okay, that's normal. All right, the point of using dialogue here in your narrative is to help convey some emotion and to help advance your story, to help move it along. So when you're deciding where to use dialogue, think about why here. Does it matter? Does it help? Right? Is there a better place for it? Because you want to pick that just right spot where using some dialogue helps maybe the reader understand something more, understand what you were thinking or the other characters were thinking, or it helps move the story on that plot, helps to move it along. Okay. On slide 45, and I wish I was with you in person because I have a awesome hard copy of this that I could give you, but I can't. So this is ways to say said, okay? Because we don't want to use the word said in our story if we can help it. So these are other ways to say said. So if you looked, the person vowed, right? They made a promise, they vowed it. They bubbled it. They whispered it, right? They began, they gawked, they protested, they mentioned, they sobbed, they divulged, right? They doubted, they bawled, they beamed, they remarked, they piped, they inquired, they approved, they whimpered, they congratulated, they accused, right? So look through this list and see if there's other ways that you can find than using the word said, right? Miss Gilliard said, Miss Boone said, Miss Privet said, Mr. Cook said, blah, boring, right? Use our list here. Try to come up with some other ways to say said. So today, that's your task. I want you to go back through your story, find where you've included dialogue, which hopefully you already have, and make sure it's punctuated correctly, and look at the verbiage, the word that you're using for said. Okay. If you have not included dialogue, then you need to go back in your story and find that just right spot where you can include just a few lines once or twice in your story, not your whole story, not pages of dialogue, just a little sprinkle here and maybe a little sprinkle here. Okay. And I'll be looking at this closely with you, boys and girls. Don't get panicked. There's lots of resources online you can look at, and you can come back through this Google slide here and look at slides 42, 3, and 44 for some help with the punctuation part, and then you can look at slide 45 for different ways to say said. Have an awesome day, boys and girls. Take care.